In this video, we will learn how to improve the overall user experience. Instead of showing a boring blank list when there is no to-do item encaptured, we are going to display a random image with a random productivity tip on the screen. Without further ado, let's start with modifying the project settings, shall we? First, open Xcode, then select the main project in the Project Navigator panel. At the Deployment Info section, please uncheck Landscape Left and Right options. This To-Do app works best in portrait mode. Great! Now we are going to create a simple yet well-designed launch screen. First, open the Assets folder, then let's create a new folder for the app logo. Now give it the name Launch Screen. After that, navigate to the desktop and open the Resources folder in the new Finder window as I show you. In the Resources folder, you will find a Launch Screen folder. Open this Launch Screen folder and take a short look at the graphics inside it. As you can notice, the To-Do app logo has got a light gray and a dark gray color variants with a regular and multiple resolutions as well. Select the light gray graphic files, then drag them into the previously created empty launch screen folder inside the Assets folder. So far, so good. Now it's time to prepare this logo for the dark mode as well. Click on the Inspectors button to show it. Next, at the Appearance section, select the Any, Light and Dark options. By doing that, a bunch of new empty slots will be appeared in the middle part of the window, waiting for adding more graphic assets to it. Since the Any appearance is identical to the Light appearance, therefore we just need to copy the logos from the Any to the Light slots. Obviously, the graphics of the 1x, the 2x and the 3x resolutions must be matched. Super! It's time to add the dark gray logos to this set. Make the Finder window active above the Xcode and one by one select and drag the graphic files to its matching empty slot according to its resolution. Nice job! Now open the launch screen storyboard file. We are going to add this To-Do app logo to the center of the screen. Click on the big plus button on the toolbar and search for the image view element in the pop-up library window. After you found it, select the image icon and drag and drop it into the empty storyboard screen. Try to position it to the center of the screen by using the help of the vertical and horizontal guides. Easy peasy, isn't it? At the Image Views Attributes Inspector panel, enter To-Do and select the To-Do app logo graphic asset. Now, first we need to add an exact site to the logo. Click on the Add New Constraints button at the very bottom of the editor window. After that, enter 96 points for the width and 96 points for the height. We set this size by clicking on the Add to Constraints button. The final task before we finish creating the launch screen is to align the logo to the center of the screen regardless of its dimension. To do that, click on the Add Align button and select the horizontally and vertically in container checkmarks as I show you. Then add these two new auto layout constraints to the logo. And that's it. Since we have just successfully created this launch screen, therefore we should test it right now on a real device or at least in the simulator. Let's build and run the project. Super duper! There is a To-Do logo displayed on the launch screen. It looks great both on the light and the dark mode. Now it's time to develop a brand new view displaying a randomly generated illustration and text label above the empty list view. We will start with developing the conditional logic of this functionality. Open the Content View file and navigate to the list view. Since we want to display a new view on top of the empty list view, therefore we need to stack these views by using a new Z-stack. Let's embed the existing list view inside a new Z-stack. One of the easiest ways to do this is to first embed it into a VStack with the help of Xcode. Then we need to rename this VStack to ZStack as I show you. ZStack. This way, the indentation of the code will be perfectly aligned and it avoids us making any mistakes accidentally. Optionally, we can add an ending comment at the very end of the ZStack as well. New comment, end of ZStack. After all of this prep work, we are going to create a new conditional statement. Enter the following code. Mark. No to-do items. If to-dos count equals 0, text empty list. As you can see, this code will decide whether to display a new view above the empty list. Having said that, if there is no to-do item to show in the list, then a text view will appear above it. Of course, we want more than just displaying this text. What we really want is to display a different view on the whole screen and hide the list view underneath it. That's why we need to create a new SwiftUI file now. Select the View folder on the Project Navigator panel and let's create a new SwiftUI file. Give it the name Empty List View and save it. As usual, we start with entering some comments for the main parts of the code. Mark Properties. Mark Body. Mark Preview. After that, we are going to embed the placeholder text inside a new vertical stack container. VStack. Alignment Center. Spacing 20. Text. Use your time wisely. Now, this code is ready to add a new image view with an illustration. Navigate to the Assets folder, then open the Resources folder with a new Finder window on the desktop. There is a folder containing all of the illustrations. Open it and select all of these modern illustrations with transparent backgrounds. Next, drag and drop the graphics into the Assets folder, then let's create a new folder from this selection as I show you. Give it the name Illustration. I like to keep everything neat and organized there. What about you? Now jump back to the empty list view and finally add a new image view inside the VStack. Enter the following code. Image, illustration, number 1. Resizable. Scaled to fit. Frame. Min width 256. Ideal width 280. Max width 360. Min height 256. Ideal height 280. Max height 360. Alignment center. Layout priority 1. As you can notice, this image has got a flexible width and height dimensions. With the priority modifier, we can force to expand the image and get bigger on the wider iPad's screen. Alright, what about the text view? Of course, we can stylize it with adding these modifiers to it. Text, layout priority 0.5. Font, system. Headline. Design, rounded. Finally, add this new modifier to the vertical stack as well. New comment, end of VStack. Padding, horizontal. Not too much is going here, but it's enough for us until we start developing the color themes for the To-Do application later on. Just one more thing. We need to make sure that the empty list view and the entire screen will be covered fully. Until now, we have just worked with the image and the text. It's time to add a new color background to this view. The easiest way to do this is by embedding the existing vStack content container inside a new zStack. New comment, end of zStack. Super! Then add the following modifiers to it. Frame, min width, 0. Max width, infinity. Min height, 0. Max height, infinity. Background, color gray. And now the last modifier is quite important. Edges ignoring safe area. All. Awesome job! This container with the background color will stretch out the entire screen and hide the empty list view underneath it. It works as it should do, but now we need to replace the background color with a better one. To do this, we are going to create a new adaptive color set in the Assets folder. Open the Assets folder and create this new color set by clicking on the plus button at the bottom of the editor. Give it the name Color Base and make its appearance to adopt the light and dark modes as I show you at the Attributes panel on the right side of the Xcode window. After that, select the Any Appearance at the middle editor and change the input method of the color from floating point to hexadecimal at the Attributes panel. Enter the following values of the light gray there. F1, F1, F6. Now copy this Any Appearance color to the clipboard at the middle editor. Then select the light appearance color beside it and replace it by pasting the light gray from the clipboard as I show you. So far, so good. As for the dark appearance, we are going to create a pitch black color. Slide the values of the red, green, blue colors to 0 in order to achieve it. And that's it. But before we jump back to code, we need to create a new folder for all of the color sets that we are going to use for this project. So let's do it. Nice, we are ready to use this color set for the background. Open the empty list view again and replace the existing background color with the new one. Background, color, color base. It's so much better in my opinion. We can test how this adaptive color works in the dark mode as well. Navigate to the preview and add a new color scheme modifier to it. Environment, \, color scheme, dark. The background color just works perfectly both in the light and the dark mode. Please ignore the harsh white foreground color of the text. We will replace it later on when we develop the color scheme for the To-Do app. Since our main goal in this lecture to enhance the user experience, therefore we need to work on furthermore. As you may know, by adding a fine-tuned animation to specific UI elements, we can grab the attention of the user. That's exactly what we want to achieve now. We will add a subtle animation to the content of this view, including the image and the text as well. This SwiftUI animation will be triggered in multiple occasions. The first one is when the user opens the To-Do app and there is no tasks on the list yet. The second case is when the user deletes all of the tasks and the list became empty. To do this, we need to store the state of the animation by creating a new property for it. Enter the following code at the beginning of the struct. Add state private var isAnimated bool equals false. Then navigate to the vStack and add some new modifiers to it. First, we animate the opacity of the content from 0 to 1. Opacity isAnimated 1 : 0. Then we are going to move the content vertically to its final destination by 50 points. Offset Y is animated question mark 0 colon minus 50. After that, we define a smooth ease out animation that will take 1.5 seconds long. Animation. Ease out. Duration. 1.5. Finally, we are going to trigger this animation only when this content appears on the screen and set its state. On appear. Perform. Self is animated. Toggle. Alright, it's time to insert all we have done so far into the main view, shall we? Let's open the content view file and replace the placeholder text with it. Empty list view. And that's it. Now let's build and run the app in the simulator or on a real device. As you can see, shortly after the launch screen disappeared, our animated content with the illustration and the productivity tip is displayed on top of the empty list view. Not bad at all. Our goal is almost accomplished. The only functionality that is still missing is the randomly generated illustrations and the productivity tips. Let's develop this feature right now, shall we? Open the empty list view once again and let's create a new array for the different illustrations. Enter the following code. Let images array of string equals illustration number 1, illustration number 2, illustration number 3. Alright. Now let's create another array, but this time it will collect all of the productivity tips. Enter. Let tips array of string equals use your time wisely. Slow and steady wins the race. Keep it short and sweet. Put hard tasks first. Reward yourself after work. Collect tasks ahead of time. Each night schedule for tomorrow. After finishing with creating these properties, you may wonder that we are going to create some functions that will generate a random image and a random string for us. You are right, except the fact that this time I am going to show you a shorter and much easier way to generate a random element in Swift. Are you ready for it? Awesome! Then navigate to the image view and modify its value with the following piece of code. Image, backslash, open and close parentheses, images, random element, parentheses, double question mark, self, images, 0. What do you think about it? It couldn't be easier in my opinion. Using the images random element method, we are able to generate a random image from the array. Since this inline method's value is optional, therefore the second part of the code is a must. Basically, the double question mark is a Nil Coalescing Operator that helps us to unwrap the image's random element safely and ensure its value in case if something goes wrong by declaring a default value to it. In our case, the default image is the first illustration. Now we are going to practice this random element and the Nil Coalescing Operator on the productivity tips. Let's replace the content of the text view with the following code. Text, backslash, parentheses, tips random element, parentheses, double question mark, self, tips, 0. Everything seems to be okay. If the compiler is happy, then we are happy as well. Finally, let's test our app on a real device or in the simulator, shall we? Build and run the Todo project. As you can see, our app didn't crash, and we can see the impressive content with an on-appear animation on top of the empty list view. Now, let's create a new to-do item that we will delete shortly after and test how this new functionality works. And there it is! After deleting the only to-do item, our newly created content view is displayed on the top of the empty list view. Our code works without any glitches, and that's a quite achievement. We have just learned how to display new content on top of another one using a conditional statement. With this, we improved the overall user experience as well and added additional value to this to-do application. I hope that this long lecture was informative and you enjoyed learning with me. See you at the next class where we are going to improve the user interface furthermore.